Home appliances. We all have them and we all use them every single day. Whether you're a gourmet chef or you're a microwave master, we all need to know where we should start, really what we should know when shopping for new appliances. But I have the perfect guest that's joining us today, as I'll be sitting down with David from Monarch Premium Appliances. So without further ado, please help me welcome David.
The home design and remodeling show. It's the one.
Wait, hold up. Before we start, I need you to hit the subscribe button. This way you can stay up to date on all of the latest tips, trends, information, and inspiration right here in South Florida. So subscribe now and stay up to date. David, thank you for joining us today.
Adam, great to have you. Couldn't be happier to be here.
Absolutely. It's it's raining outside, but I guess there are worse situations that we're dealing with, but I really want to kick this off and start off. Tell us about you, tell us about Monarch, and really what you guys represent.
Sure, for sure. Well, I appreciate the opportunity. We're so excited to be engaging with your folks right now. And Monarch really is an incredible story. We are a company that, while the Monarch name and brand is less than 10 years old, the companies that make Monarch in California and Florida and Nevada, some of them are almost 100 years old. So we come from this rich kind of retail and retail and B2B kind of component that is really deep rooted in the appliance industry. So what we focus on primarily are luxury premium and mass premium appliances. But to your point, happy to and certainly available to answer any question to anybody at any level. But we really put our energy and focus in what is primarily a B2B model, where we engage interior designers, architects, home remodelers, contractors, and certainly a significant amount of end users to help them really not just purchase appliances, but to be a part of the design process to make sure that the installation and aftercare is what it needs to be on premium, products at any level. That's critically important to our consumers, and that's really where we put our energy in. In Florida specifically, been here over 25 years. Was previously Florida Builders, and has been, like I said, Monarch for pushing 10 years now. And we have multiple locations and a huge fleet of delivery and installation folks that are here to meet your every need. And just happy to talk about it today with you.
Absolutely. And I couldn't be more excited because, when it comes to appliances, that's really the focal point of the home. It goes in all of those entertaining areas, but, we're going through some different times that are really unknown from any time in the past. But tell us how you see COVID really changing the landscape of how homeowners and industry professionals are really looking at what home entertainment and truly home lifestyle looks like moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. I can tell you it's been unique, but it's also been an incredible opportunity to really think about how we use the kitchen, how we quite frankly use our homes, and conversely, how to do business, in an environment where you really have to do things a bit differently than you did before. And I guess I'll start with the home, right? It's been a several year trend that the kitchen has really become kind of the epicenter of the home. I think we ebb and flow as people, right? For a while, it was home theater systems, and those things are still important. Then you got some outdoor spaces, and then it's the kitchen, and we kind of move around, right?
Absolutely.
And over the last several years, it's really been focused on the kitchen. And I think a couple things have driven that, but we'll get to those after the COVID piece. And I think COVID even more, right? People are not eating out anywhere near the amount they were previously. But having said that, you don't want to give up great food, right? And there's so many options with home delivery, and people I think are really starting to engage and saying, you know what, I can get that restaurant experience in my home, right? And I think that's really where we've been able to come in and help. Conversely, we have to work differently though. Our showrooms, which have generally been wide open, are now, we really prefer an appointment, and that has actually been a strange benefit. It really allows us to schedule the right amount of time. A premium appliance consultation is hours long, right? You got plans out, you're looking at laptops, and so that's been great from that perspective, and it really allows us to hone in on what the client needs. And I think the second great part to that is we've got to be really thoughtful of what they're trying to do with it, which I think is helpful, rather than just everybody's running and cranking and going. And we've got to really understand what it is to be invited into their home. So when we get to delivery and installation, how do we make sure we're meeting and exceeding everything that we're hearing from the CDC or local municipalities relative to executing work in someone's home. So it's really been this kind of interesting learning and growing experience for our teams. And the other thing that I would say is things like this, even with our customers, we've really gotten exponentially better at trying to help customers, whether it be a meeting just like this. We can do it visually. We can get online and heck, we can even FaceTime if you want, right, in the showroom floor. And and be able to do things like that I think before we knew we could do. But we really fell back to the kind of doing it the way we've always done it. And this has made everybody think differently. But ultimately, I think it really helps us help the customer have that experience they're looking for in their home. And the products today, even if you start at the entry level of premium, that mass premium, are so fantastic today, right? Cooking a gourmet meal is absolutely a can do on a bunch of budgets, right? It doesn't have to be your personal chef at home. And we've also been able to really, I think, engage people. I'm sitting in a live kitchen right now. So if you were in our Pompano showroom, we'd be able to fire it up with you, and show you how to execute something, right? And I think those are things that are big differentiators for us. But that's really, I think, the way COVID has changed the way we do business, and just accentuates that trend that was already happening to spend more time in the kitchen.
Without a doubt. And when the first thing that you said, I mean, as far as opportunity, too many people are sitting back waiting for hoping this to pass, but it truly is an opportunity because it's forced every single business to dive back into what the basic fundamentals are, to focus on that one-on-one. And more so than anything, as far as especially for what we believe in and moving forward, just in marketing and business and in every level, personalizing your brand couldn't be more important, because the one-on-one experience is the most important experience right now in business in general. And it was easy for a lot of businesses to lose sight of that. So, I appreciate the fact that you mentioned that, but it's incredible. And it's great to see all of the initiatives that you guys have taken. But, when looking at the appliance industry, tell me why it's so important to really know who your partner is, but making sure that you have the right partners.
For sure. And I think that's, again, this is not going to be any knock on the competition. I'm going to speak for Monarch, right? And I think what differentiates us in that space. So first and foremost, like most things today, you can buy these products in a lot of places, whether it's the internet. You've seen kind of the mass retailers start to tip, not quite luxury premium, but starting to get in to close to luxury premium, right? And they all do things really, really well, right? So there's no knock there. I think for us, and what is so important, especially if you're doing, what I'd consider to be a pretty expensive kitchen, right? Is that you've got the partner that's going to do more than just provide the appliances. I think when you talk about our experience, so please don't get intimidated by this, but we'll round it off and say it's a $35,000 kitchen, right? We do much more and much less, but let's just call it. We certainly want to make sure that, one, we're a partner from the minute you start thinking about it, because you need someone to let you know why you're going to spend $35,000. Generally, it's not just because it looks cool, right? Are you a person that really loves to cook? Do you entertain a ton, and therefore you need more refrigeration space, right? Are you an outdoor fanatic? You need someone who can help you really understand how to get the best bang for your buck on that $35,000, because it may not be going in and buying a 4 or 5 piece package from a vendor, right? If you over-index in the way you use your kitchen, we can help you put more of those funds, right, where you want them, and less funds where you're probably not going to spend time. That's the front part, and I think that gets us to the sale, right? But even more importantly, generally what we're doing is we're either replacing via remodel, or we're doing new construction, or you're somehow making modifications and changes. That creates scheduling, right? So from our perspective, we have white glove, single human being point of contact for you. It can be text and it can be email, but it can also be a phone call. They're available to watch, make sure you're on time with your project, make sure we're ordered properly, right? And then, to me, the most important differentiator in this is a premium installation. So when you're ripping into your kitchen, right, and you've just spent who knows how many thousands of dollars on your cabinets, and you've bought items that really are unique and have to be installed properly, that's where I think we really differentiate ourselves. We spend a lot of time and energy training and developing and promoting from within our install teams to be able to be, they're legitimate craftsmen. And most people probably don't know we hold contractors licenses for a lot of this work in the states that we serve, which is really different than third parties and some of those other things. So we can do some more of that complex stuff. And then ultimately, once you're done there, are we going to pick up the phone after it's done? And the answer is yes. I think when you're talking about a luxury premium purchase and experience, those are the things that matter. And to me, that's the differentiator. And I think that's what if it's not Monarch, that's what you need to be looking for, right? Who's going to make sure I get the things that I need, not just the package that I need that works? Who's going to kind of help me, guide me through this with my contractor, designer, or just me, if it's me and I'm doing it, right? Yeah. And then ultimately at the end, is it going to look the way I want it to? Right. And I think those are the things you really need to pay attention to, especially if you're really thinking about stepping up your kitchen game a little bit at any price point. I'd be asking the same questions.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like it truly comes down to the professional, because it's not just selling a product. It's not just, taking certain brands or only selling one brand. It's a matter of figuring out the functionality, because every single brand serves its purpose and how the user is really using and functioning within their own space. So, I couldn't agree more with you. But, this is a question that I'm really excited about, because I see the industry evolving and changing daily. What can you tell us? Let's talk a little bit about design and trends and just what's going on in the appliance industry.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it's a little bit behind the rest of the world, but it's quickly catching up in the evolution to tech.
Right.
And what I mean by that is, we're about to, if we're not there right now, we're about to move into a consumer who can get a really nice kitchen, right? Who has now lived their entire life via their phone.
Right.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So if you start to think about the brands that are starting to move forward. I don't want to get into a brand discussion today, but the brands that are moving forward have a really strong, or are starting to understand how tech can play into cooking, right? So several of our pieces, will now call you on your phone and let you know your roast is done, right? Or text you, right? Or you can monitor your temperature and make adjustments. And we've all kind of seen the fridge kind of started it, right? The refrigerator started with, we'll make your grocery list and that kind of stuff. But it's really getting into the technical details, multi-drawer now, where there's really, really specific temperature control, right? Your cold cuts can last a week longer if they're just a shade colder than your regular, right? So all of these tech features that I think a lot of times appliances felt like they didn't need, right? We just had to be really good and crank a lot of BTUs out and keep your stuff cold at one number and everything's good. And we're really starting to see that the tech trend is high. Laundry is another big one where, when's it done? Does it need more? Shoot it to my phone, shoot it to my iPad. I can start it before I leave the office, right? To make sure that I'm good by the time I get home. I think that's a big differentiator, right? That's separating, maybe, as brands start to go like this.
Right.
I think the ones that are really going to win the day with, let's call it next year, in the next 5 years, the next 10 years consumer, are going to be putting a lot of energy in that. And I think that's a big differentiator. And stylistically, I don't know if you want to, or I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to ask, because I've always wondered, like, what is that main differentiator when looking at products? But, there's a lot that goes into it, as you're going to, talk about, but, from style, but tech is, it's incredible what, in every level of home improvement and design, and, especially the appliances.
For sure. And now people are integrating the home, right? You go, so many builders right now, and I would argue almost every builder right now that's doing, let's call it maybe a shade higher than middle of the road, right? That's going all the way up from there. If you don't have a smart house model, model home, you're probably not even in the game. Right. And your appliances have to fit into that scenario. So I think that's, and I would even argue, even down in the entry level homes now that are being built new, have some sort of home automation and control, and your appliances have to play in that.
Absolutely, without a doubt. But what can you tell us a little bit in regards to materials, finishes, things like that? Because I do a lot of research. I feel like matte black is like one of those hottest colors right now for everything across the board. But I've been seeing a lot of different vibrant colors as well.
For sure. I think so this is really this is why you need somebody that can really help you, because right now, the sky's the limit. Literally a few years ago, you would know, you could have white, you could have black, maybe biscuit in some places, and stainless dominated, right? That's all gone away. I can tell you right now that we have brands that I could bring in a paint chip, right, and we could absolutely make sure that your oven, anything you want to do, matches that paint chip, right? And one of the biggest trends right now is the pop out one color piece. So generally the stove, right? So you get the big stove action, right? And several of the big brands right now can do a lot of colors, right? So it used to be, if I'm stainless, I need to be all stainless. If I'm black, I need to be all black. If I'm matte black, that's really not the case anymore. We're seeing a ton of color pop in that piece with maybe a hood that matches, right? And then stainless around it, or the different colors around it. So you're really seeing a mixing and matching a lot of color, which is just really unique and just makes a kitchen pop. This is not an exaggeration when I say there are homes right here in our area you can walk into today that have a hot pink stove, right? And you think, wow, that must be strange. But in a white kitchen, buffeted by stainless, it's incredible.
Absolutely.
Right? Incredible. We happen to do a tower down in Aventura where they're all red La Cornue, right? So there's really cool ways to use color. But I think if I were to go generically, the matte black is big, but white, believe it or not, is making a comeback.
Yeah,
So really kind of modernist looking white with some gold accents is
I was just
definitely
going to say the finishes, brass, gold. I mean, that's being used probably more than ever.
a ton now, right? So,
Yeah.
it's like everything else, right? But having said that, there's still an incredible consumer in this space
Right.
that really loves that industrial, chef's kitchen. Like I feel like I'm in a restaurant.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
still an incredibly popular look for us. And what we find geographically are things are very different. If you're on Miami Beach, it's a very sleek presentation, right?
Right.
That white mat, that white would go really good there, the dark mat.
Yeah.
And then when you get out, maybe in the burbs with a bigger house, people like the bigger, clunkier. So,
Yeah.
but I would say right now, the color pops, the technology, and the resurgence of white are some of the really big key things that are driving kind of the newer pieces of the business over the next couple of years.
Absolutely. So throughout all of your years of, working with different appliances, what would you say is the most unique color request that someone has given you?
The hot pink for
The
sure.
hot pink, yeah.
We did a legit like 1970s disco hot pink.
No zebra print, nothing like that.
No zebra print. We have done well. We did do one with polka dots. I will say
Right.
that was with some polka dots.
That's wild.
Yellows, like a really bright yellow.
Yep.
We did a celebrity home that was bright yellow. That was
Yeah.
really kind of neat. So yeah, I mean, I think it's that that piece that you want to then you start to accent around that, right? And
Exactly.
drives the kitchen.
And that's what really differentiates a kitchen, because the thing is, the appliance industry has kind of gone into that furnishing aspect as well, as far as being able to, make that a statement piece. But, looking at the industry as a whole, where do you see the industry in the next 5 years?
I think it's fantastic because I think the trend has been pre-COVID, and COVID just gave it another boost, which is we are just simply spending more time at home. And I think the new home starts, people that are in their home and saying, you know what, there's a lot going on. I feel it's almost like same but different to 2000 with the crash, right? 2008 is, okay, maybe I'm just going to invest now. The world's a little bit shaky. We have actually seen business go really, really well, really strong through this. And I think that's going to continue. I just think to what we talked about at the beginning, we have put even more of an emphasis on where we're going to spend our time at home. And from an appliance perspective, I think that bodes really, really well for us. Challenges right now for the industry, we are no different than anybody else in global supply chains, right? So you're starting to get into a little bit of out of stocks and back orders. And, I think that's going to have a bit of a, dip in the curve, and then we'll get back again as they get going. But I think it's really continuing to drive technology. I think it's continuing to be more than just functional pieces. They're really going to be, I almost say, works of art, right? That drive the look of your kitchen. But I also think continuing to have increased functionality. The one thing we didn't talk about is, there's sustainability. There's all kinds of stuff that are really important to people. And you're going to see, I think, different products and different things that help support that as well. Because, they're constantly growing and, are kind of growing in different directions. And I think, what you're cooking, how you're cooking really drives the industry. And, getting cooling right has an incredible, effect on your grocery bill. But that's also kind of sustainability, right? I don't have to throw stuff out, right? I can use it all the way through. I have time to do it, and I'm replenishing properly. And getting that right, has an incredible effect on what we're buying, how often we're buying, and, those types of things. So I really see that directionally is where we're headed.
Absolutely. And the thing is, with a lot of homeowners, working with designers, working with builders, they all understand what premium appliances truly deliver. But there's a lot of homeowners that don't really understand, and they might settle for something less or spend more than what they need to. So as far as looking at homeowners in particular, what would you say are the most important questions that someone should ask when looking to purchase that new product? And what should they really know as far as what differentiates, premium appliances?
Yeah. So I answer this question usually about 10 times a week. So this is a great question, right? And, there's a point in ultra luxury premium appliances where you really are doing it because you can, right? They're just unique pieces. But generally speaking, everybody needs to ask a few questions, right? The first thing I ask, and it has nothing to do with judgment or anything else, is kind of what's the price of your home, right? Because people can get really, really enamored with a piece and you'll never get that return on investment. Are you staying in your home? I ask that question all the time. Are you going to be there a while? Like, are you really feeling like this is your forever home? Or is this your kind of, maybe you're going to keep it a couple years, or you're here on an assignment or a project, right? Then it takes you down different avenues, right? So I think number one is understanding what are you willing to spend? Not because I want to upsell you from that, but it just takes a whole lot of stuff out of the equation and really helps us laser in. right? And the price of your house, if you tell me you want a $50,000 kitchen in a $300,000 house, I'm gonna sit you down and go, we need to talk.
Right.
Unless you're never leaving, right,
Yep.
we need to have a dialogue that you don't need to do that. And I can show you why you don't need to do that. And you're still going to get incredible quality, right?
Absolutely.
So I think we start kind of understanding the what's and where's of how much you want to do, what's your house worth, and what's that mean to you. Second thing I always ask is kind of back to what I talked about before. What do you love to do most in the kitchen, right? And that really starts to decide where we need to put the bulk of our energy, right? And most people kind of don't think about it in the right way. So first thing, if you cook a lot, but depending on what you cook a lot, what's the size of refrigeration? Do you cook for yourself? That's totally different than I'm constantly entertaining and have 15 people in my house at all times, right? How much do you do outside? Because most people wouldn't spend a ton of money on an outdoor grill, but if you're cooking out there 4 days a week, right? Let's talk about that, right? Because I think there's positioning in your home. And ultimately, you know, the real question is, you know, who's using it, how much and why, you know, the family, who's doing what. And then, you know, are you really passionate about, you know, types? So are you electric home? Are you gas home? Those things are important too, especially when you start talking about what you're cooking and why you like to cook. We have a discussion around that. You know, if you're electric, but you're an absolute, you know, top level chef cook, well, then we'll probably talk about induction. We'll probably spend a little bit more money there than you wanted to, but I'm going to tell you why. And then we might be able to save it on refrigeration or dishwasher or something like that. So those are the questions that I ask. And then, you know, I think it's important for them to understand kind of the process, because I think most people believe that, you know, when you go to Home Depot and you buy it on Saturday and they'll come out Wednesday.
Yeah.
You know, for us, we're talking about a lot of unique pieces, things that generally have to be ordered for your opening, you know, so we generally have a 2, 3, 4 week lead time, even if you're ready.
Right.
So it's really important to us in the premium space. We don't house product. We're not, you know, we have one refrigerator that has like 18 SKUs. Right. So, you know, to do something like that properly with all the right combinations that you would want, you know, we have to do that work. So I think there's also a time component that I'm really passionate about. If you're in a hurry, that's very different. Now we have things we could, you know, if the fridge breaks, we can go stuff something in there until we get it worked out. But generally speaking, I think there's an expectation, even with luxury premium appliances, that it's sitting somewhere. And it's generally not. In a lot of cases, things are actually built for once we put the specs in, or at least the pieces come from disparate places and we put it all together for you. So that's my big 3 or 4 when I sit down with someone.
Absolutely, because and that's good to know for people, because even though somebody wants premium products, you know, you still have solutions. You'll make sure that they're not stuck without something until that point. But you know, something that I think about a lot, and you know, a lot of different professionals I speak with, especially going through COVID, because you know, people sometimes are a little bit wary coming into the house, but outdoor entertainment has been one of the top trends for a while now. But what tips can you give us, like specifically when talking about outdoor appliances? You know, what can you offer us in the sense of looking to shop for new appliances for the outdoors?
Yeah, I think there's a
With
couple
all the elements and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, the elements are key, right? So number one is, where are you and where do you see this being?
Right.
Right? Is it kind of covered? Is it always covered? Is it never covered? Are you on a saltwater canal? Right, that's a big one, because we've got several vendors that'll do stainless, right, saltwater resistant. So it's really first and foremost, what are you talking about? What kind of space and how exposed is it? That's number one.
Right.
But then, believe it or not, we fall right back to the same questions, which is, what are you doing most? Like, you know, some people are like, oh my God, pizza outside is the greatest thing ever. Awesome. We have pizza ovens, right? Let's talk about that. Because if you're telling me that's the first thing that came to your mind, and we start putting things together, and then you want to slide the pizza oven, I'd tell you, don't do that.
Right.
That was the first thing you told me, right? We can do something else, right? If we're getting a little, you know, past the budget, we'll find somewhere else to find it, you know? So I think one, it's that quantity of people is huge, because the size of a grill is critical. If it's you and just the family all the time, well, we could save you a ton of money by dropping down the size. You know, those massive things look really, really cool, right? And I mean, they're incredible, and you got 8 buttons, and man, you can, you know, you can blow it up to whatever and sear a side of buffalo, whatever you want. But is it really practical, right? And the space constraint and who's using it. If you have 2 parties a year, do you want to spend an extra exponential thousands of dollars to have 2 more burners or 4 more burners? So we talk about. And then I think what's really forgotten outside is how you don't want to run back inside all the time.
Right.
So how are you looking for refrigeration? How are you looking for ice? You know, your utensils, warming drawers, if you are especially entertaining, all of those things that you have in the home can absolutely be replicated outside. And that to me is the make or break of a true outdoor space. If if I have an outdoor space where I continually have to run inside, am I really utilizing my outdoor space to the fullest, right? I'm running back and forth. I'm constantly inside. If I have people, I'm entertaining. When you truly try to replicate the experience outside and think about how you use, if you had a dinner party and how to use outside, right? It's exactly the same. And I think those are the features that people wind up kind of regretting they didn't do, and then do full utilization of their outdoor space, right? Because I'm still running in all the time. And that may sound a little odd, but if you really think about it, what's the most annoying part of having people out back? You're inside cooking, you can't be with them, or everybody trying to, with a handful of stuff, open a sliding glass door. We've all been there, right? And if you're going to put the money in an outdoor space, let's look at everything you do in it. And I would also say, look is extremely important.
Right.
If you look at some really nice outdoor spaces, they come in the same kind of thought processes as inside. You got really sleek, right? You've got kind of a, Tuscan bricks and all kinds of stuff. You got Key West look. So how you're really fitting it all into your space, I think is truly important as well. And then you've got stuff like, how are we powering all of this?
Right.
Right. So where's your gas line? Most people would freak out to know it could be $10,000. I experienced this on my own when I was with the company, but in Arizona, $8,000 to run a gas line around back.
Right.
I'm like, okay, didn't plan for that. So, those are the kind of things that you really have to be asking. Where are you getting your power from? Do you have power? Do you have water? It's a little bit more than just here's all these things and we'll come out and drop them down.
Right.
It's really a build to do an outdoor kitchen.
Without a doubt. And the thing is, and like what you were talking about, it's just putting things in perspective, because when you're talking about entertaining people, running indoors, outdoors, I know for myself, I love grilling. I cook on the grill all the time. But anytime anyone's over, I'm at the grill and then I'm racing in the house, asking for my wife for certain things. My kids are bringing other things outside. So it's just like, it gets a little chaotic, and it's not as much of an enjoyable experience. So, perspective is everything. And that's like having a professional that points out how you're going to use it and what, everything is going to do to really benefit your experience while you're cooking indoors or outdoors or whatever it might be. That's a key point.
If you drill it back to, we're using the kitchen more.
Right.
Indoor or outdoor, then you really want the kitchen to be a self-contained unit, indoor, outdoor, right? If that's what we're using, that's where we're gathering around. That's where we're, it's amazing how many people have beautiful, incredible homes and the party never leaves the kitchen.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's because you've made it that way, though. That didn't happen on accident.
Right.
Right. You made it that way that you can grab, do, get, and keep the party going simply from being in the kitchen.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Because entertainment more so than ever, home entertaining is everything. But, talking about, and I think I'm going to know the answer because you've kind of hinted towards it, but if there was something in particular, that somebody could really splurge on that, is the best return in the sense of product, what would you say that would be?
I would say, again, it depends on what you like to do.
Right.
But I don't think you can ever go wrong over indexing, especially if you cook on your range, your cooktop,
Okay.
or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Or your ovens, if you have the ovens separate. The cooking component always is going to drive the kitchen,
Right.
right? Generally speaking, unless you just always cater, but yet you have drinks and stuff, then I would tilt you toward refrigeration, right?
Right.
But I think that center point, spending that money there's so many different technologies that can make, I would say a really good home cook, literally chef-like, and you'd never know the difference, right?
Absolutely.
Just probes and the ability to use steam, or the ability to use, convection, or all these different things that now are one touch. Used to be an art, right? Used to be an art that an artist, who trained, could only pull that stuff off. And now you've got technology to be able to help you with that. A lot of them now, come with the ability to sous vide, right? Which, you take a steak, you like to grill, I like to grill. I can tell you my grill game went way up when I learned how to sous vide, right?
Oh, wow.
And all of a sudden, you can take this huge cut of a steak, right? That, hard to get that thing the way you want it all the way through.
Right.
You sous vide it up to a certain level, you plop it on, sear, have a nice day. And all of a sudden you feel like you're at Morton's, right? And these things are all available to everybody now at almost any, I wouldn't say any price point, but almost any price point.
Right.
So I would say you can never lose there. And think about when people walk into a home, let's say you're selling your home, because there's always a part to this that resale has to be part of the conversation.
Absolutely.
Right? You're super excited about it when you're buying it, and you're not thinking about what's next year, right? Or what's 2 years, something happens. And you never go wrong when you've got that really, really nice. Everybody looks at that and goes, ooh.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's truly a statement piece.
And it's truly a selling piece, right? And if you ask people, where do you at least get, I don't know that you ever get all your money back unless you're a flipper, but if you're going to invest somewhere, the places where you're going to get the most bang for your bucks, clearly the kitchen. And
Yeah,
it's the
absolutely.
first place most people go to. So I would say that signature piece, if all things were equal, I'd start with that signature piece and I'd work out from there.
Awesome. Awesome. So we've covered a lot of different topics today. Is there anything else in particular that really stands out that you think, homeowners truly need to know? And also the industry. I mean, there's as far as industry professionals knowing the details to appliances.
I would say my greatest thing that I would tell any homeowner at any level is really get what you want.
Right.
And that's not about spending more. That's about getting what you want, right? So many times whether it's availability or whether it's a great package at even for us, we have dealer package go, oh my God, it's great. The price is fantastic, but you're kind of right? I can tell you're going to walk into your kitchen multiple times a day, every single day for the rest of the time that you're in that house. And it's not that, it's not that I want you to spend more, but I want you to really, really, really think about what you want. And so many people walk in and say, you know what, that looks fine. It looks really, really good. I'll do it. Then you get into your new home and you're just like, I want to start cooking. I want to start doing something. And you realize pretty quickly that the things you want to do were right there at your fingertips, but you didn't do that little extra work, right? To say that I can do exactly what I want to do. I think from a consumer perspective, it's some of the most important equipment in your home. I would argue the most. Some would say theater equipment, some would say other things, but generally speaking, especially things that are firmly implanted in your home, right?
Absolutely.
Take the due diligence to get what you want. And I think you'd be surprised if you do your homework, how many of those cool things you can get without breaking the bank. Whether it's Monarch or somewhere else, you'll be able to do that without breaking the bank. From the industry, I would just say, some things, no matter how much woohoo and technology there is, you're always going to come back to, I need my stuff cold that I want to be cold.
Right.
I want stuff hot that I need to be hot. If I cook a lot, right, then I'm going to want some things there. And just to understand that while there are a lot of fad things that come by, right? Fads come and go, but really good cold, really good hot, really good clean, right? Those are not fads. Right. And I think when you spend your energy, the industry, all industries are always going to try to get you with the shiny bulb or the new thing, or I
feel like that's more so of a way just to get somebody to buy more and more often.
Correct. It is, because you're really not going to be settled. I'm not trashing anybody. I don't even know who makes it, but I saw somewhere at a trade show, everybody's drinking bourbon now. So there's this like multi-$100 round ice cube maker.
Right.
Exactly. Okay. Right. Like, okay, that's kind of cool, but I wouldn't base my drinking or kitchen design on that. Right.
Right. Exactly.
So I think it's, those are the kind of things, that's the advice that I would really offer. I think so.
And the thing is, also looking at these times and everything that we're going through, there are tons of people, thousands of people that are finding a new passion with cooking. So now they're valuing their appliances, their kitchen, everything that they're doing at home more, where it's worth those investments and spending more and really doing more homework as far as making sure they have the right product in their homes.
For sure. And the last thing I would say to that is don't forget the kids.
Yeah.
You're seeing so much now kids cooking, right? Or
Absolutely.
Kids into cooking, right? I think young people today are so much more educated than I know I was on nutrition and right, sustainability and farm fresh and all of these things, and they want to take that next leap to making it okay, I get where I should buy it, I get why it's good for me, but now I want to put it all together. Right. And we're seeing so many kids that are now getting involved in the kitchen, and I think the ease of use and the technology and the things they're very comfortable with, I think help make that leap as well. And it's important. So many families are cooking together. I think
absolutely. I mean, personally, my kids are young. They're 4 and 2 years old.
Yep.
We have them doing things in the kitchen. It's just a good family activity, and they love it. So, I mean, these times, the benefit, obviously, there's a lot of opportunity, bring families together. But if anybody wants to get a consultation or come see you, what's the best way?
So I think the easiest way, we obviously have showrooms all over Florida, all over California, Northern Nevada. So if you're in one of those places, feel free to look us up and but anywhere you are in the country, you can just literally email info@Monarch Home, that's MONARK home, one word, .com. And you just kind of put in wherever you are, and that'll route you to anyone. And you'll probably get a call back from one of our leaders or one of our awesome sales folks in the showroom, and we can take it from there.
Awesome.
That's the easiest way to get hold.
David, I can't thank you enough. Everybody, David Himes, president of Monarch Premium Appliances. I can't thank you enough. Everyone, check out their website. It's monarchhome.com. But David, thank you so much for all the information. I know that myself, we're all more educated and better prepared as far as buying new appliances. But for everybody, you can always check us out at homeshows.net. Find us out on all of our different social media channels at FL Home Shows. But every single Wednesday at 4:30 p.m., you can always tune in for the next series of At Home of the Home Show. David, I really appreciate all the information. Thank you.
Adam, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. And everyone, don't forget, subscribe now before you leave.